Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Happy Sunday and welcome to another edition of the AccessToTrader.com weekend update show. Hope everybody is doing well. Beautiful weather, 85 degrees in New Jersey. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to my backyard, going to do a little bit of swimming, get a lot of sun, going to relax and get mentally ready for tomorrow's trading day for a new week. Again, all we ask is, guys, if you like the content, click that like button, support the channel. Again, hopefully I can put you into the position of seeing the market in reality. So let's talk about it, right? So your job as an investor is to buy a company at attractive levels that you like and you're hoping for appreciation within the next 3 months to 3 years, right? That is the job of an investor. A trader's job is to, number one, identify the landscape, identify the sentiment. Again, it's very, very important to identify which way the wind is blowing, assess risk, and be prepared for the next day. Being prepared for the next day doesn't mean buy, doesn't mean sell. It just means be prepared. Understand what you are up against and understand that you are on a day-to-day basis based on momentum and based on an economic landscape, geopolitical landscape that we're currently in right now with the conflict of Iran. So our job as traders, okay, is to play devil's advocate, right? Always play devil's advocate, never put on the rose-colored glasses, because the rose-colored glasses are the ones that are going to kill you. So let's talk about being devil's advocate for a second. Again, I do that every single day just because, again, I always so very understand and always keep on getting reminded throughout my career that if you don't pay attention to the warning signs, there could be a problem, right? There could be a problem. Slow and steady stays the race. Always be vigilant. Always have your head on a swivel. Whatever the hell the word is, and be very prudent on your next move. So let's go back to March 30th. Now, why was March 30th an important session? Well, March 30th was the bottom of this whole move, right? The question is, well, why did the market stop, right? Why did the market stop going down on March the 30th? And we always talk about that you don't need a materialistic event, okay? You don't need anything that is globally impacting what's happening. Again, it doesn't hurt, doesn't help, but you don't need it, right? What happens is, and again, this is where a lot of new traders just don't understand, the market just doesn't need a reason, okay? Sellers got tired. That's all what happened. Sellers got tired going down, right? We were going down for such a long period of time. And if you guys remember, technology started going down in the week of Christmas, right? That's when the whole the whole roller coaster ride back down to the downside started to evolve, and we finally had March 30th low because the market got tired, sellers got tired, and that's literally what happened. And then slowly but surely, the market started negating and started going tone deaf into the Iran war. Again, a lot of people, for some reason, still believe that the market started going down, because of the Iran war. Guys, we started going down the week of Christmas, way before the first missile was fired. So it's very, very important to understand these things and attention to detail. So we started negating bad news. We started negating war headlines, and the sellers got tired, and the market is up basically 28%. The QQQs are up 28% since the March 30 intraday lows. Now, why do I keep on bringing this up? We are in historic elevation. I think all of us can agree to that. I think if you've been trading for at least 10 to 15 years, I'm not even saying 20 to closer to 30. I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20. But if you've been trading for a long, long time, you know how extraordinary this market rally has been. And no fund managers turning around and going, wow, after a 28% move on the NASDAQ, I want to start building positions. That just doesn't happen. And eventually retail will get tired, whether they run out of money or get tired, whatever the case may be, but eventually that will happen. And what I noticed this week, kind of a mirror image, reverse mirror image to what we saw in the March 30th week. When the sellers got tired here, right, we kept on going up, right? We kept on going up, and the personalities changed. What I saw this week was a little bit of a personality shift. I don't want to use the word personality changed yet, but a personality shift. And so we had 2 days this week that the NASDAQ got hit with some pretty aggressive body blows, okay? Now, again, if you're an investor, this doesn't apply to you. Again, my channel, my platform does not apply to you. God bless. Whatever stock you're in, I hope it goes to 1,000. 10,000, right? Has nothing to do with you. This is from the trading aspect. So on a day-to-day trading aspect of it, we have to figure out where are the warning signs that a potential momentum shift can occur. So we saw 2 days this week, okay? We saw Tuesday, a very aggressive body blow that the NASDAQ did buy, right? The buyers were still there, and they bought the dip that took it to all-time highs once again 2 days later. And then we saw it again Friday, right? You had rising yields. You had, and again, Jerome Powell, right? Some headlines over this weekend. You had Jerome Powell finally ending his tenure. Okay. That's kind of a big deal, right? That's kind of a big deal. No more Powell. So that was a big deal. Let me see what also some other stories over the weekend that we have to at least keep a track and kind of correlates to what I'm about to talk about. Let me see what else. Let me see what else was there. So you have Powell stepping down, right? You have Powell stepping down after 8 years of being the Federal Reserve chairman. You have some pretty good news coming out of the tariff conversation. Again, as everybody knows, Trump took a group of Fortune 500 leaders to China to work out some things. In the process, the United States and China have agreed to lower tariffs. So obviously that's going to be a little bit of a boost, you would think, to the market, at least at the open on Monday. And hey, Elon Musk is about to get richer. SpaceX apparently is applying for listing to go public on the NASDAQ on June the 12th, 3 weeks from now, with symbol SPCX. If you liked one symbol from Elon Musk, naturally, we're probably going to like a second one. We'll see. That's still to be determined. But how does this correlate, right? How does this correlate? With everything that's going on, we saw our first close below short-term sentiment. It's not a big deal if you're an investor. It might be a big deal if you're a trader. And again, if you've been buying or at least trying to swing stocks up the 255th floor, this close below the 5-day moving average is a big deal. It doesn't become a tremendous deal until we lose the 10-day, right? The 5-day moving average, you can see it when the market hugs the 5-day and doesn't close below. It just keeps on grinding. So Friday was our first close below the 5-day. Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. Again, I trade both sides of the market. I'm equally aggressive on both sides when the technicals are there to confirm. So for me, it doesn't make a difference, but it is at least notable, right? At least it's a conversation piece that you should be aware of. We did close below the 5-day moving average. The next key support level is 702, which is the 10-day. Again, not a big deal if you're a long-term investor and you caught this massive magic carpet ride, but it's something you want to pay attention to. The 10-day moving average is the birth of the trade, right? It's technically the trend that is being confirmed after the short-term basis, which is the 5-day, gets reclaimed. So the 10-day is going to be a pretty big deal for the Qs this week. Write this down. Any close below 702 on the Qs, guys, there's room. Okay, there is room here. So 702 has room all the way down to 680. Folks, 28% since the March 30 lows. You know, don't think for a second it can't happen. It happens all the time. It's happened to me twice very aggressively throughout my career. Again, we just want to be prepared for it. So if we do get a gap up on this, and again, I don't know what time you'll be watching this broadcast. I'm assuming as soon as the futures open up at 6 o'clock, we'll obviously have a better indication. But if we have a scenario that we gap up tomorrow, knowing that we already closed below the 5-day moving average, and we confirm Friday's channel, then yes, we should get a test of this 702 level. What the bulls need to do, the bears obviously need to close below 702. What the bulls need to do is reclaim roughly 712, 713 on the close. That is the 5 days. So whoever has control of the short-term sentiment will probably have control this week. So 712, 713 for the bulls, 702 for the bears, and for all us traders to trade both sides of the market. We just have to sit patiently waiting for this to play out. So let's talk about individual names. And this is kind of my point about if the market starts pulling, we have to be prepared for. So let's take a look at our favorite symbols, right? Let's go one-on-one on our favorite symbols and see exactly where everything is. Microsoft had a pretty good move on Friday, bucking the trend. Ackman basically came out with a filing, said, I sold all my Google, I put it into Microsoft. Microsoft still has a little bit of work to do, okay? It's been in this cluster for, basically about 2 months from now. It needs to get back above the April highs. If it could get back above the April highs, I think Microsoft has an opportunity to run like Tesla. Speaking of Tesla, again, you see this blue line here? That's the 150-day moving average. You see where the high here off the 150 days. So Microsoft needs to get back above the 150 to spread its wings. Speaking of Tesla, and to show you the importance of the 150, so here is the 150, right? This blue line here. As soon as Tesla got back above the 150, it had this really, really big run here. But however, well, here we are in Tesla. Tesla now is mirroring what we potentially just been talking about the last few minutes. Tesla lost the 5-day moving average and closed right on the 10. Well, why is that significant? It's not significant yet, but with Friday's sell-off, it took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days worth of buying. If Tesla starts losing last week's lows, or let's just call it May lows, this thing could lose the 64 EMA, which is not going to be a very, very good thing if that happens. Apple. Right? Apple, magic carpet ride. Again, this is kind of what we talk about, hugging the 5-day moving average. You see how this orange line, Apple, bounce off the orange line, bounce, 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 bounce. You see that? As long as Apple continues to grind above the 5-day moving average, it is fine. However, if Apple loses last week's range, that will also lose the 5-day. Again, don't think your stock is immune if the technicals start breaking down, especially stocks that had this really, really epic run. Apple had an incredible epic run since reclaiming the 50-day moving average all the way up, all the way to the April 15 channel. And now any loss of the 5-day will get this thing lower. SanDisk, right? Is there arguably a stock that's outperformed SanDisk in the last X amount of months? Not really. But again, this is how close SanDisk is. I'm watching those May lows. SanDisk lose that May lows. This thing could get hit. Again, it's been very resilient. Stock even went down, 100 points nearly a couple of times, and it's still kind of recovered. But this is now back-to-back days closing below the 5-day moving average. Again, that is a short-term sentiment. Qualcomm, right, had one of these epic runs, just like all these other semiconductors. You see how it's just holding on to the 10-day, right? You see this green line, back-to-back days, holding on to the 10-day. Qualcomm loses the 10-day. Guys, look how much room there is to the 20-day support. Again, big move down. Google, right? Google had been an incredible run. It still looks really, really good. It's actually flagging here pretty nicely. Had a really big engulfing day on Wednesday and just putting in 2 days of lower highs, again, just for general market weakness. But if it could just get back above the May highs, this thing can start its next leg up. Amazon, right? Amazon, again, had a big move, hugging the orange line. Again, this is my point about losing the 5-day. Lost the 5-day moving average, went to the 10. Lost the 10-day moving average, traded down to the 20. Again, it's the whole point of the PS60 theory. Stocks trade from channels, from supply to supply, demand to demand. Now, what happens if Amazon loses the 20-day moving average? Well, then the 253 potentially could follow. Avago. Okay, Avago has been holding up really, really well. Inside day from Thursday's big breakout level. That shows you how exaggerated this market is. The stock was down $14 and put in an inside day. If the market stabilizes and goes higher, let's keep an eye on Avago to the upside. NVIDIA, another godlike run on NVIDIA. Again, stopped at the 5-day. Again, look, folks, this is muscle memory, right? It stopped at the 5-day, right? Held, stopped at the 5-day on May the 12th, held and went higher. Stopped at the 5-day on May the 6th, went higher. So my point is, if it loses the 5-day, right? Again, just to be prepared. AMD, okay? AMD lost the 5-day moving average. You can see it's very, very close to the 10-day moving average, coming back down. And Micron, right? Micron, just the same way as Sandisk, is below the 5-day moving average. And now it's just one channel away from the May lows. Again, these stocks have been super Teflon stocks, everything. They've been taking body blow after body blow and still recovering. But now the 10-day is in play. If Micron loses the 10-day moving average, again, a lot of room to play. Some other names keep an eye on for tomorrow, just in case the market is strong. Look at ExxonMobil. Guys, if oil is going to go higher, and oil is, looks pretty good. Look at the chart on ExxonMobil. First close over the 50-day moving average. This looks really, really good. Look at ASTS with SpaceX IPO. If it could just close above the 50-day moving average, this thing looks pretty good. Look at Snow. Snow has been acting really, really well. And folks, this thing is like an inch away from reclaiming a major level here and really, really going. If the market could recover, Snow actually looks very good. Again, first close above the 50-day moving average. And last but not least, let me give you one more. Look at Tulo, right? Tulo, again, really, really big run, consolidating. Again, if the market holds up, let's see if they could attack the top of the channel and start to run again. So always be prepared, folks. Upside, downside. If you're interested in pivots and you want to check it out, guys, come hit the link below. Come hang out for 30 days. See if it's a right fit for you. With God help, tomorrow we'll all be alive and healthy. And tomorrow I will see you all in the field. Have a great, great Sunday, guys. Catch you guys on the field tomorrow.